A moment of silent meditation and pledge to the flag. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. It is February 8th, 10 a.m., and all three county commissioners are here, and we will begin with consents and approval with our county administrator. Good morning.
Morning, Renetta.
We have 10 exonerations for $6,109.97, minutes for February 1st, 2023. Vouchers, General County Fund, $450,958.73, coal severance, $1,000. Magistrate Court, $2933, 911, $254. Chestnut Ridge Park, $1,708.01. Camp Muffley, $250. Mason-Dixon Park, $2,620.02. Mon County Center, $4,001.04. Assessor's valuation, $1,869.97. Payroll, $1,742,81.58. Purchasing card vouchers, General County Fund, $8,370.34. Chestnut Ridge Park, $525.38. Mason-Dixon Park, $162.21. Mon County Center, $2,149.42. And assessor's valuation, $1,242.50 for a voucher total of $2,217,249.53. We have position vacancies for boards and authorities listed on our website and fiduciary orders for February 8th, 2023.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Proper moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will go to introduction of new employees and personnel changes. Do we have any?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Seeing that, we will have comments from the public. If you see, please state your name and address and come forward. Okay. And Jason, I talked to the other commissioners. I said that this is a one-time event where I will allow you the extra time to speak, okay?
Appreciate it.
Sure.
So, yes, my name is Jason Charles. I'm known by no other name. I do not have an address to provide you before my home was taken from me when I was unlawfully incarcerated. Let me reiterate and give a recap of last week's speech that there is nothing that I can do and there is nothing that you can do. What is needed, only the surgeon can provide. It would be better for you, though, to do absolutely nothing than to lead a child of God astray. We talked about how the Holy Scriptures say that it is imperative that one hold to their oath, and that the sheriff of Monongalia County, Perry Palmer, does not uphold to his oath that he took. That was prevalent in many things that I stated. Then we went on to talk about some differences between whether or not the state is conducting themselves in the truth, and we are determining whether or not that is true by the examples in which they do and how they may deceive us. So we are going to start with marriage. First, I would like to say is what they did, referring to the state or the institution or whoever the institution may follow, is that they took the institution of marriage, they called it something it is not, and they broke the very thing that they made. I'm going to go into detail about this. They called marriage a legal union, enticed everyone to go down that road, which led to a lady in California married to a rock, a pet rock. The conclusion of that is that is not marriage. God hates divorce. The biblical definition is detachment. God divorced Israel. What God hates is separation. Eternal separation from his presence. That's what we're all trying to avoid. What takes place in legal union, and then 50% of the time ends up in legal separation, is neither marriage nor divorce. Basically, two legal entity persons identified of the state ask for permission from the holder of the record, right here in this building, Carrie Laney Blaney. They must then choose from a list of ordained persons. I'm not going to go into details to what ordained persons is. You can research that one yourself. To whom they confirmed they stood before witnesses and agreed to the terms and permission of the marriage license. They are now legally united. Fun fact, a yun is short for an uneducated person, usually someone with no qualification and lives in a council area and is dependent on benefits. Fun fact, if you research the etymology of the word marriage, it comes from the Old English, which basically makes your wife a counselor at sea, which goes into admiralty law, but that's for another day. Statistically, half of the now united will take place in a legal separation. There, a legal judge divides up the product of your union. This is all your legal stuff, and if you are wards of the state, that's what they call parents of certified children, much like if one is incarcerated, is under the warden of a jail or a prison, the child is under the control of the united, because the child is certified entity of the state. Now to be divided and told to leave each other alone, this is not biblical divorce, because what God has joined together, no man can separate. The two, now led astray by the lies, enter into more temptations of the flesh, most likely having relations reserved only for the wedding bed, and one's flesh of my flesh, goes forth and commits adultery. This, in the eyes of God, is sin. Led astray by this ungodly process facilitated by the very people in this building, seeming to do good, exchange good for evil, and punish those who do good. Now, once this web of lies is hard to get out of, if one starts down this road of destruction, one could ask for the record to be disannulled. This is not an annulment. That is having the papacy recognize that the union never happened. Disannulled is removal of the record. Being that the record is, according to the truth of the Word of God, erroneous, it should not be on the record. Unfortunately, this is not how they work. One must prove in a court of law that the record is erroneous and will not stand in a court of law. Unfortunately, the only way to get in front of a judge to prove some of these things is to be unlawfully arrested and wait in jail for trial, which happened to me. I was trying to prove innocence anyway. Unfortunately, they can still find a way to prevent this from happening, and that's what they did. And from the truth being told, nor will they allow someone to put on the record a statement of truth according to the Word of God. They basically don't recognize the Word of God. They make the rules because they have the force. The force, that's all they have, force. Just do it. You just have to do it. Or enticement into something that is a lie. Here are truly two kingdoms. The kingdom of God built on the solid rock of truth, and the other is the ever-sinking sand of lies that when the storm comes will fail. Do not be a partaker of lies, and do not follow after those who do. No one can serve two masters, for either they will hate the one and love the other, or they will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Mammon is money. It is clear to me that the state has kicked God out the front door and made backdoor deals selling lies for money. It is fascinating to me that the basic questions cannot be answered by the very people governing the process. The holder of the record cannot provide a definition of marriage. I have asked. I can assure you that whatever definition is used is not the biblical definition for marriage, and therefore I will have nothing to do with it, and I recommend that you do this, the same for you, that you don't have anything to do with a lie. If the record holder is the one to certify the signed contract, and she cannot provide the meaning of the very thing that she certified, in this case, how can this be valid? It is as if the blind are leading the blind. Furthermore, she was not present at the moment and does not have firsthand knowledge or account to the vow of the contract, yet she claims that it happened. She certifies it. That will not hold up in a court of law. They will not remove the erroneous record because they have no means to collect the revenue from what would be a legal separation. This is a big moneymaker for the state. Without the temptation of the empty promise of legal protection of the legal union, the contract with the state, The state has no say over what would be the divorce. The state has a vested interest in promoting divorce, and it is a backdoor taxation through asset seizure, devastating some to poverty, a front door taxation. They get you coming and going.
Go ahead. I'll let you
10 minutes,
finish.
or you want me to finish?
No, I will
Come
let
back?
you finish it.
All right, so
I
okay, okay,
I gave
cool.
you my word.
Yeah, cool, thanks. I can say I cannot be something that I am not. I am not Yooned. And if they will not remove the erroneous record, then I deny being who they and only they claim that I am. I am a servant of the Most High Jesus Christ. I cannot be forced to be conformed to this world. Romans 12:2. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind, that one may prove that this is good and acceptable in the perfect will of God. It is not the will of God for one to be a partaker of a lie. If nothing less, the holder of the record should be required to inform in writing, in spoken word, that the state definition used for marriage is contrary to the word of God, and having a marriage contract with the state as the master, which you can look that up, it qualifies the state as the master, is usurping Christ as Lord. We should have nothing to do with this. Light has nothing to do with darkness. How would one be married if not legally? I'm glad you asked. A marriage in the eyes of God is to stand before a man of God, before witnesses, and you make a vow to love. You write down that in your family Bible, and you carry that around wherever you go, and you tell other people, the love of the Father is the love He has for you is like that you have for your wife. And that if anyone comes against you and takes your irreplaceable family Bible, you forgive him. You might ask over and over again for it to be returned. And if he has a gun and thinks that he's right, maybe you can appeal to his higher authority and have it returned. I have yet to know. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. You are the peacemakers. Make peace.
Thank you very much, Jason. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Very sincere. My name is James Giuliani. I live at 256 Prairie Avenue. I am a candidate for the first ward in the City of Morgantown City Council election. Got my signatures in. I'll get my letter this afternoon. I want to say I have a lot of respect for this commission and the things that you do and your work, your vision, planning, and openness that we see what's going on. I was, of course, at the City of Morgantown's meeting last night, and it's getting harder and harder, guys. A lot of things going on that affects all of us. And so, as again, I want to credit you for thinking outside the box and saying, hey, let's reach out to our neighbors. Let's reach out to our peers. Let's reach out to the people that we have to work with to get things done. I've had the same things in mind, Tom, and what we're talking about is your presentation at the Kanawha County meeting, which I was impressed with, very impressed with, and I think was appropriate. Because West Virginia is a state of less than 1.8 million people, okay? I hate when people say this, but I have been other places, and you have too, Tom, and all of us have, okay? So I don't like to compare myself against other cities in West Virginia. I want to compare ourselves against the nation and how good we are, okay? So that being said, we may have a larger geographic area in the sense that 1.8 million people as opposed to other places that have that, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, et cetera, et cetera. But that approach is the right approach. And in my case, because I'll be representing the city for the next 4 years, is that I want to do the same thing with the city of Morgantown, West Virginia University, Marshall, and Huntington. And what pulls us together is that Charleston pulls us all together in the sense that Huntington, West Virginia University, Marshall, we're all working under the same playbooks and things. So I would like to look forward to see if we can establish some certain relationships. I know Huntington started some really good programs with their addiction things. Charleston under their mayorship of Miss Goodwin, Steve Williams, of course, in Huntington. I think we can do some of the same things here. We've started ourselves really well. We've got a good facility. It's a start. It's a very good start. And it's an opportunity maybe for Morgantown in that area of town to even possibly grow. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not sure that we have our comprehensive program yet that Huntington and Charleston have, and that would be a city thing, to actually put these resources together and actually have a paid staff, which they have, okay? So what I need to suggest to say is that, as you have said, let's partner with Kanawha County. We need to get back to partnering with ourselves again in the true sense that we have to have some sort of formal meetings that we do know what's going on with each other, whether it be every 6 months, whether it be every 3 months, whether it be me when I'm on council. I can guarantee you that I will come in here and I'll let you know what's going on with city council. I don't know if you'd want to do same thing, the reversal, that sometimes that maybe a commissioner comes to city council. I don't know. There's committee of whole meetings, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I'd like to bring that up to you, that I think that we have to do these things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
James.
James.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Hi, come on down. You state your name and address, and we can.
Hi, my name is Jordan Brigman, representing the Art Council Greater Morgantown at 341 Chaplin Road. I have some
Sure.
copies of the information I brought. Just so you guys can-
Okay. This won't be part of your time.
Thank you.
I've come to present our 2022 operations and the allocation of the funds that you all have provided to the Art Council of Greater Morgantown. I would first like to extend appreciation to the Monongalia County Commission for your continued support and financial contributions to the arts of Greater Morgantown. In 2022, we finished our organizational arts grant awarding in August, of which $167,700 were awarded to local art organizations. These organizations include the Morgantown Art Party, Friends of Deckers Creek, Mon River Trails Conservancy, Morgantown Art Association, Empty Pockets Theater, WV Public Theater, Morgantown Dance, Your Community Foundation, Morgantown Theater Company, Spark Imagination, West Virginia Botanic Gardens, Morgantown History Museum, and the Summit Chambers Music Series. With this, ACGM and Your Community Foundation matched $75,000 for the grant program with assistance with the Douglas Tanner Memorial Fund. The ACGM is also going to be continuing doing impact grants in 2023, so of which $20,000 was dedicated to support local artist projects through these impact grants, and these will include creative spaces and new exhibitions. We currently have 2 applications so far that was announced at the end of January. The organization has also exhibited 9 artists in 3 participating Gallery Without Walls locations. This includes West Virginia University, Erickson Alumni Center, Black Bear Burritos, and Citizens Bank of Morgantown. We are also excited to announce that we will be collaborating with WVU Health Sciences Center in the future. And finally, I would just like to say that the ACGM welcomed myself onto the organization in 2022 as Creativity Connector, utilizing the remaining funds to support the inclusion of the position, and the organization's happy to announce the recent addition of Kay Fanek to the ACGM board as president, and with the position of treasurer being fulfilled of Susan Riddle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the report.
Tom, I was remiss, I didn't mention Campbell County and Wayne County.
Oh, okay. That's quite all right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak before this commission? Seeing none, we will close comments from the public. Sheriff Perry Palmer, presentation of the delinquent personal property tax reform for 2020.
Have to say anything.
I know. Just hand us the forms, yes.
So Kelly is presenting you with a report from the 2020 personal delinquent property tax collections. Also, there'll be a history of prior
Thank you.
years' collection. You can look it over, and if you have any questions.
So I will bottom line it for you, just so you know that the uncollectible amount is less than 1%.
Wow.
It is actually less than 0.7%. It's 0.69%. So we're pretty proud of that. In our office, I have a couple of people that I want to give recognition to. Kylan Haney, our delinquent tax manager, prepared this report, and it got cut off the bottom, but I wanted to make sure that I gave her the credit for preparing this report and managing the project of sending out the letters. She works closely with our prosecutor's office and Phil Magro, and I want to thank them for their cooperation too. It makes it a lot easier. A lot of counties are actually having to hire someone to do this for them, and so that's why we like to be able to work with our prosecutor's office and within our own office to save the county money of having to pay out a percentage to a company or an individual to do this.
Anyone want to make a comment?
No, good, thank you.
Thank you. Just on behalf of the county commissioners, we appreciate the efficiency and wish all agencies would do less than 0.7%. That is unbelievable.
It is.
And thank you. And your staff both staff need to be.
Thank you.
All right, tell them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that's great. Okay, Colleen Kuhn and grants, and we do not have any grants today. Okay, let's go with correspondence. Second quarter levy report from Bow Park.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, we received it. Any other correspondence? Anyone?
We did receive a resignation from Sarah Maloney from the litter control position, so
We will be posting that position.
it is
correct?
actually in the paper today.
Oh, okay, so the position will be posted. Thank you. Okay, no unfinished business. We will go to new business. Consideration to approve the professional cleaning service contract for a period of 1 year with Appalachia's Best for the Mon County Center.
I move that we approve the cleaning services contract as presented.
Second.
Properly moved in second. This is a continuation from last year, right?
Correct,
Yes.
this is the
Right,
current
so this is
service.
good. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Consideration to approve a letter to West Banco as trustee of the University Town Center Economic Opportunity Development District, Special District Excise Tax Bonds. Sorry. Series 2017A, Series 2020A, Series 2021A, and Series 2021B Reserve Fund accounts to authorize Municap to facilitate further investment of fund balances.
Move that we approve the letter as presented.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion?
This essentially allows us to sweep some reserve accounts of previous series of bonds, so.
Okay. So it's been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. See, consideration to approve a letter, oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. D, consideration to approve requisition number 72 for the University Town, so I'll go back to that. Exercise Tax District Administrative Expense Fund. This is D.
Okay, so requisition 72?
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah.
Requisitions for $9,425. Those funds will be paid to Municap and Steptoe and Johnson.
Move to approve requisition 72 as presented.
Second.
Bob moves second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I apologize. Consideration to approve a letter to United Bank as trustee of the University Town Center Property Tax Bond Series 2020A Reserve Fund account to authorize Municap to facilitate further investment of fund balance.
Move that we approve the letter as presented.
Second.
Bob moved second. All those in favor say aye.
That's essentially the same thing as above, but
Yes.
it's just for the 2028 bonds.
Okay. Consideration to approve requisition number 18 for the University Town Center Series 2020 Property Tax District Administrative Expense Fund.
Requisition is for $450 paid to Municap.
Move that we approve requisition 18 as provided.
Second.
Properly moving second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'll read this slowly so people understand this. To consider for approval the West Virginia Local Government Election and Release Form between all West Virginia counties and cities and Bypass Pharmacy, Rhonda Pharmacy, The Pharmacy, Clendenin Pharmacy, and Fruth Pharmacy related to the settlement with the West Virginia Attorney General.
Move that we approve the release form as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is just the authorization that we give the Attorney General authority to settle these suits on behalf of us, and every other county's asked to do the same thing. This has to do with the opioid alleged abuses by pharmacies and not monitoring the way they were dispensing those and the impact that it's had on the state, so.
Just one clear clarification, we're authorizing Fitzsimmons.
Fitzsimmons.
Our law firm.
Yeah, Fitzsimmons Law Firm through the
Yeah.
attorney, right.
Okay, thank you. It's been properly moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Do we have any other? Okay. Seeing none, any reports from elected officials or department supervisors? Granville, come on down.
Mayor Lewis.
Mayor Lewis, glad to see you.
Thank you. I just wanted to report that we had 4 representatives from the town of Granville that went down for Mon Preston Day. We had some interesting conversations with some of the delegates and senators. But one thing that we have our eye on today is House Bill 2842. It was supposed to be presented at 9:15 this morning to the House Political Subdivision Committee, and it is a bill that repeals a municipality's ability to issue or require a business license for anybody that's doing business in your city. So we looked at the bill, and we can't see any further language that would require a business to even register so that you know who is doing business in your community. So we would appreciate maybe your support if you want to speak to any of the delegates or senators. I'm not sure what the end goal is with this. Hopefully the businesses would have to at least register and let us know. I think that's problematic if you don't know who's doing business in your city. Of course, it's another revenue stream. It's not that big of a revenue stream, but it's another cut in revenue stream for municipalities and towns, to not issue any kind of license. So you might maybe want to keep an eye on that one. And did you realize that we don't have any more Class 1 cities in West Virginia?
No.
There are no more Class 1 cities in West Virginia, and there are 2 more cities in the southern part of the state that are going to dissolve within the next couple months. So, this doesn't really affect Mon County, but if they keep cutting revenue streams and you start looking at smaller municipalities, it does put the burden back on the county commissions. I don't know if there was any discussion with that when you met with the county commissioners
not know that.
in Charleston. So that might be something to keep in the back of your mind as well.
Thanks, Mayor.
If you could send us the bill number and some bullet points, I think that would be really helpful for us. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Yeah.
We will, yeah.
Mayor Lewis, while we have you, I still keep getting calls about the intersection with the traffic light. If you could update us on the progress, then I'll be glad to pass that along.
We had Tim Rice, we had a meeting with Tim Rice a couple weeks ago, and all the information is with French Engineering.
Okay.
So we need to touch base with him again. We're just caught up in
Sure.
all the paperwork, I guess, and the plans, utilities and things, but I will touch base
Great.
with
Appreciate that.
Tim again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from elected officials or department supervisors? Seeing none? Yep.
Had the opportunity, and Commissioner Bloom was there as well, to see the opening of our sledding hill at Chestnut Ridge Park, and it's fantastic. If you haven't got a chance to go up there, it's every bit as good as the one at Snowshoe and the one at Wisp, and it's about 20% the cost. A family of 5 can go up there for $50 for a 2-hour stretch, and the same thing's $250 at Wisp. It's amazing. The tow works perfectly, and they come down fast, but they're not fast enough for any danger. But it's the staff, J.R. Petsko and his staff have done an incredible job getting that thing ready. Granted, it's only going to be open weather pending. We haven't had much cooperation with Mother Nature so far, but if it's cold enough to make snow, they're going to make it and groom that hill. And if you get a chance, you have to make an appointment. We're keeping it kind of limited slots right now until we get fully functional as far as comfortable with how our operations work. We're taking kind of a slow open. So, but if you get a chance, check it out. I also want to thank Tom and Shauna. They participated in the Association of Counties meeting, and they're taking the fight to Charleston, so to speak, to get our equal share for funding. And Tom had the opportunity to speak with Senator Capito about some of our projects, most notably Harmony Grove. So I appreciate the efforts and fighting that fight down there.
And Sean spoke on broadband, just
That's
so.
right.
Yeah,
broadband.
it was
I figured-
really impressive.
I figured he'd touch on that on his comments
Yeah.
too. So that's all I've got.
Thank you very much, Sean. Yeah.
Since our last meeting on Friday, we had staff reports in BRE. And as Commissioner Arnett mentioned, this weekend was the West Virginia Association of County meetings in Charleston. I think the meetings were largely successful. They're a little different. Tom and I were talking about this when we were down there. With this year has, with our association, our County Commission Association West Virginia, and with our County Association of Counties, both meetings have seemed to be really light on the agenda because there isn't a lot of bills we're talking about. We're not drilling down on a lot of specific bills. In prior years, we obviously had a lot of things going on at the legislature, and we would be talking about specific bills and breakouts and stuff like that, and we really weren't doing a lot of that. As Commissioner Arnett mentioned, Senator Capito did speak at the opening of the event, and Tom had the opportunity to remind her we need her help and Joe Manchin's help in DC to get the paperwork on the Harmony Grove interchange moving, and also to remind the state officials, the governor and the DOH, of how important that project is, because everybody that came in talked about our mountaintop project. They used that as an example of the economic development that's going on in the state, and Senator Capito, without being prompted, talked about it. Auditor McCuskey talked about it and how important it is. And we said, well, it's also very important that you get that interchange, because we're testing right now, but when we go to production in March, we're going to have 60 to 100 vehicles going through Westover on a daily basis. And then as the plant expands, that's just not. That's not something that I'm sure all Mon County residents are going to feel that, and so the push for the interchange is really going to come, from our phones ringing about people in the traffic through town. So really need to get the local, by local I mean the state representatives and DOH on board with that project. So this week we have BRE today after this meeting, and then we have a regular meeting. Tomorrow I have MAP Executive Committee meeting, Red Team and Development Authority. Friday I have a broadband sync, and then I have a call with Prodigy in Preston County. I got a call from Tim Watchering last week, and he was at Mon County Day at the legislature, and he had a lot of good grant opportunities, and he had a couple in mind that we may team with Preston County to help serve our citizens. Saturday, I'm going to the elimination dinner at St. Mary's. Tuesday, I have a Juma call. So in general, I did want to make sure that we talked about the Harmony Grove interchange, because we got a report last week from Mon County Day at the legislature. The DOH had mentioned that that project is 4 years out, and that kind of sent ripples because we immediately got calls about that, and we need to. If that's the case, we really need to know, but I don't understand why that project would be 4 years out. So we really need to refocus local attention and our delegates' attention on that interchange. So, and I appreciate Senator Capito's agreeing to help us. She said this is something that she can really help us, because she can mention it to the Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Buttigieg, and get his buy-in, and then that will send ripples down through to the local and to the state as far as how important this project is. So hopefully we just need to keep everybody on it. And Senator Capito, Tom and I were talking about what he was going to talk about when he went on the radio. Senator Capito was all of a sudden called us out about broadband. She says, yeah, well, they're doing something really cool in Mon County, and no one else in the county, in the state is doing it. Is Mon County here?
Yeah.
And Tom and I are in the back of the room was like, yeah. So she asked me to brief the whole group on what we're doing in Mon County, and I got a lot of people coming up to me asking questions about that. So I think it was a productive meeting. So that's all I have, Tom.
Thank you. as Sean said, when I looked at the agenda and I told my wife there really wasn't that much and it was going to be, I thought, very boring. And in the first 90 minutes of the meeting, Mon County was put on the map. And I'm glad Sean brought up about broadband because he's sometimes a little modest, but as we were talking, she's saying, where are my Monongalia County, City of Morgantown friends? So we appeared and looked up. She said not only was it the first in the state, but one of the first in the country, and everyone's watching us, and then asked for Sean to give a presentation in front of all the media and all the representatives throughout the state and some of the federal officials. So it was really, really positive event for her talking about broadband and also Harmony Grove. I do want to say, though, that we are very pleased that Senator Capito and Senator Manchin are pushing for this. Unfortunately, after we made the presentation, it was in the media, I received a call last night from the owners of Mountaintop Bottling Company, who are going on their own to specifically ask the questions. They told me they had already contacted officials going, what they were told when they were building it and what they've been told for the last 3-4 years is not what was just mentioned 2 weeks ago. So there's a lot of question and concern, and they are pushing the button and asked. They were very thankful for us leading the charge and wanted to also thank Russ Rogerson for his help. But this is not going to go away, and I want to state that now. And as I stated today in my post, that I'm glad that the Northern Panhandle got $105 million for this battery. I'm glad that Marshall University got $25 million for their baseball stadium. All we are asking for is being treated the same, whether it's to move Harmony Grove forward, whether it's to get the extra funding for the water project in West Ridge of that $4 million, or to build Exit 155. All we are asking is to work together so we can economically not only help this North Central area, but West Virginia. Also, when I was down there, I was fortunate. I was asked to speak in front of the Kanawha County Commission, and this was a reciprocal.
I didn't hear about that.
Yes. This was a reciprocal request because President Carper was here, and I just want to say I want to just highlight a couple things that I stated on behalf of the citizens of Mon County and the county commissioners. We wanted to personally thank them because while other leaders sat quiet, their county moved forward asking questions, developing a plan, and when the amendment failed, it was clear that the citizens understood who was looking out for their interests. And as we discussed several issues, I asked the commissioners for support. I wanted to start what I called for our two economic engines, an acronym. As a teacher, you always have acronyms. It was called CAP Initiative, which was the collaboration and partnership between our two counties, and they jumped right on it. They think it's great, quote, to be proactive, not reactive, and happened to be while I was down there, I let it slip, and Cabell County said, well, what about us? And a couple other large city counties have talked about where we would get together twice a year, discuss issues, or get involved so we could be proactive. We have great organizations, but they move slow pace, and there's 55 counties. A perfect example of what you just stated needs to be aware of what's just coming up. So we need to be proactive on those issues, and I was very pleased how we were received, and very, very excited what went down there. The final thing I do want to just talk about is when we were also down there, something came out of a meeting that we were very shocked about. As you know, 24% of the funding that's coming from the settlements that we just talked about today is going directly to the cities and counties. That's the good news. 71% is being put in a foundation that is going to be set up by 3 individuals have to build the nonprofit, and the governor has to name those names, and the Senate has to approve it. There's your first problem. Then we learned that there are 6 regions, which we really didn't know about, which are completely different regions from any other regions. And these regions have to get together, the commissioners, to choose an individual to be placed on this committee to even be a part of the decision process. When we asked how the process is, it's still ongoing. But we learned that, and we wanted then we learned that and I'll say, I'm looking at the cities, that the cities are supposed to be a part of this. We didn't know this, so this is something that will be coming out. However, to make a request to this 71%, it has to be approved by the regional group. We have 14 counties. We have difficulty agreeing on North Central Road Commission. So this is going to be a very interesting process, but it's millions and millions of dollars, and we are going to be on top of it. I asked to be the pilot project with the group so that our county could go first, so we can get started. So we'll learn more about it. But this is the kind of things you learn at that convention. It was very important. With that,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
we be adjourned and we be gone.